Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I am absolutely thrilled to have our special guest on our call today. This is an incredible story. A young lady who started an eBay online store selling cosmetics at a deep discount. She then went on to teach Latin to master's students and religious studies at a university level before she found her true passion as an entrepreneur, and has since then created tens of millions of dollars and is currently the CEO and founder of Organic Growth, and has been so for the last 10 years. She's a specialist in SEO, search engine optimization, and lately a specialist in AI, and combining those two things together. And it is with incredible pleasure that I welcome Julie Mills and ask her what the hell is Ultimate Frisbee?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Walt, for having me on. I'm really excited to chat with you. Ultimate Frisbee is like the epitome of college sports back in like the 90s and the 2000s.
It
So
wasn't
that's what we
beer pong,
say.
like it wasn't like, you know.
I guess Ultimate Frisbee is like one step up from beer
Right,
pong.
okay, all right. If you
Yeah,
can get
beer pong and
Frisbee
all
into
that.
the beer pong, you're good. No, so
Yeah.
like, is it an actual sport? Like people line up to play this?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Anyone who went to college in the 90s or early 2000s will tell you the Ultimate Frisbee is like the college sport.
Wow, amazing. So I've got two kids out the back here, and we spoke just before we hit record about a particular subject that I'm not allowed to speak about, but that forbidden topic has resulted in children. Do you have kids? Are you out the back playing Frisbee with the kids?
I have a child. He's
Okay.
8. He is not quite up to the Frisbee level yet, but I'm working on his skills.
Okay, you're telling him off. He's got to get his technique right. The distance is an important thing. It's all about the
Yes,
wrist, right? It's all about the wrist. I'm still talking about that forbidden topic.
I
So
know you are. It's all
ultimate,
about technique.
all that technique, all that technique. So ultimate frisbee has absolutely no correlation with where we want to get to, and I would love to kind of dive deep. How did you get into selling on eBay? Like, what was that about?
I've always had that sort of entrepreneurial streak, and I saw an opportunity back in college where I could liquidate some inventory from some cosmetics consultants who were getting out of the business and then resell it on eBay for a profit. And it was like an ATM machine. It was my first foray into online marketing, and it was
Wow,
just a lot of fun.
wow, incredible. How long did you do that for?
Off and on for 5, 7 years, something like that.
Did
Long
that kind of
time.
pay your way through college? Was that the gig?
That was my job. That was my part-time job when I was in college. And I even did
Wow.
it after college for a little while too, because it paid more than trying to teach Latin at a high school.
Right, I'll get to that in just a second. So, like, tell me some numbers. Like, what was your biggest month doing cosmetics through eBay?
Oh my goodness, several thousand. It was
Wow.
at the time. Yeah, at the time, it was really good money for someone who's, living by myself and just hanging out. And I really wish that I had dialed in my processes and my inventory tracking and that sort of thing. But yeah, it was really good money at the time, and I loved it.
What an amazing entry point into entrepreneurial world, being able to take a product, put an online store, which eBay obviously makes super easy, and make sales, make money. It must have seemed like a miracle, just like too good to be true.
Absolutely, because this was just when the internet was starting to hit its heyday, and when people were learning that they could work from home and they didn't have to go into the office and be someone's bitch and all that. So I really learned a lot, and it was sort of a convergence of happy coincidences that let this happen.
Wow, that's amazing. So then flowing from that, as you said, Latin to university students and master's degree program students is again. I'm curious to know, how did that happen? Like Latin, really? Like you would say it's the fundamental foundation of language and Romance language, especially out there in the world. Was it just a passion that led you down that path? Like, how did you get to be a tutor in Latin to master's level students?
I majored in Latin because I wasn't good at it in high school, and I wanted to get to the point where I could crack that code. And so I
Wow.
did that, and that sort of instilled in me a passion for other dead languages, which is such a funny thing to be passionate about. But and we can talk about this at some point, but that segued into SEO and research and language and writing and all those, things that have helped me succeed so far.
I hadn't drawn that correlation between Latin and dead languages interesting conversation in itself, all the way through to SEO. But now that you mention it, I can see the tie. But more interestingly, on a personal level, you started like mastering that subject because you sucked at it at high school.
Yes.
Is that you? Is that your personality? This will not defeat me.
Absolutely. The things that I have done, I'll give you a quick example because this is my favorite one. I learned how to fly because I was afraid of commercial flying.
Wow.
So that was a long time ago, but every time I'm afraid of something or I can't quite master it, I like to lean in because it's uncomfortable as hell, but I feel like that's where the growth really happens.
Wow.
So
How's that shaped your life so far?
I've done a lot of things that I think are a little crazy,
Great.
but I feel like people who have that entrepreneurial bug and people who want to, be their own master and just chart their own destiny, they have that same sort of spirit where they go
Mm.
after the things that terrify them and they lean into the things that make them uncomfortable. So I've started to nurture that even more. Just leaning into the things that make you really uncomfortable tends to generate the most growth.
How does that play out with your team now? Because running obviously Organic Growth Lab, you've got people there with you. You've got a massive organization there. Um, I would I don't want to put words into your mouth. I would love to know how that feels when you're working with your team. But the fact that you don't let stuff beat you, the fact that you will take a crazy challenge, the fact that you go all in to defeat a fear, how does that relate in a boardroom?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think my team is they see Julie and they see the crazy directions that I go in sometimes, and they take a lot of it with a grain of salt because they know that when it comes down to it, the key to success is sometimes boring, but it's having those systems and those processes and those, the repeatability built into what you offer your clients. And so as crazy as I can be on the personal development side, and as much fun as I have going out there and networking and meeting other people like you who have just crushed it in their business, at the end of the day, it comes back to having a core team that I've trained and really nurtured to be able to fulfill against client expectations. So I think that's a really good question. And I've been a part of organizations where the leader is legit insane. And I'm not insane. I just enjoy going out and having those challenges and tackling different obstacles. But then at the end of the day, it's about serving my clients and making sure that they can see the results of the systems that we've put into place. Amazing. I don't know if that answers your question, but
yeah, no, it does. But I'll kind of dig into it a little bit because I love the difference in thought and mindset between entrepreneurs and team members, and love them both in terms of what they want from their daily life. And I'm curious in terms of your team looking at you doing crazy stuff, going, I'd never do that, or are you having conversations where people go, oh God, Julie, don't tell me what you did on the weekend, kind of thing, because it's going to scare me to death. I just feel like there's a big disconnect between entrepreneurs and I guess the team members that we love so dearly in that mindset. Is that something that you feel?
Part of it is cultural because I do have a distributed team.
Mm.
So people in the States who work with me, I think we're on the same wavelength a lot of times because
Right.
the crazy that I do is not anywhere near the crazy that you see on TikTok or social media, and we're just inundated and saturated with that in the States. In some of the countries where I have team members living, the types of things that I might do or might be common in the States are just completely not at all something that you would see. So I definitely love embracing the just the diversity that comes with having an international team and learning about different cultures and sort of seeing how what I've grown up in compares to where you are and where some of my team members are. So I'm not sure how much of it is entrepreneurial versus how much of it is, just different environments and different backgrounds.
Mm.
But I will say, coming off of a conference last week where I was in a room with other entrepreneurs who are all just crazy, 7-figure entrepreneurs. Coming out of that, there's definitely a mindset and an attitude that you can see with entrepreneurs that is really hard to replicate if you don't have the gene or the bug or the crazy.
Yeah, I just find us a different space. So let's get into brass tacks. Your team is predominantly remote. You don't have an office somewhere where everybody kind of commutes in. You're all dialing in. How did let's start right at the beginning. Who was your first hire? Or who? I mean, you've probably, like we have, gone through amazing people and have a core team that you have now. But let me rephrase the question. When did you hire your first team member and why?
Yeah, so I started out freelancing and I did that for first 5 or 6 years and really just built up my ability to speak the lingo and present, the corporate type documents and that's all of that.
Mm.
I hired my first serious team member about 4 years ago. And I did that because I knew that if I had to do all the fulfillment, it was going to fall flat. So my first hire was actually somebody who's still with me, and he's great at SEO strategy, technical SEO, website backend. So he has a very core skill set that complements what I can do. And so just because he's been such a fantastic team member and he's been able to tackle basically any project that I've given him, finding someone who's sort of a unicorn in that way and can wear multiple hats made a huge difference for me and my ability to execute against projects.
Amazing, amazing. So how involved are you now? Like, is your entire day spent with clients, with team, or what's your position in terms of the systems that you've created and the processes within the business now?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm still in the process of being able to remove myself from the day in, day out nitty gritty. And that's going to be another several months before I can, remove myself completely from that. And I don't think I ever want to be completely removed from that. But I'm spending more of my time networking, meeting other people, social media, doing presentations, doing talks, interviews, and just really getting out there and understanding the pain points around what business owners are facing right now and how AI, how SEO, how other tools can help to eliminate friction points in their business. And so I'm really, out there marketing the business and talking about the business. And then I've got a fantastic core team of individuals who owns their own expertise and can execute against the pieces that they're responsible for.
Nice. I love it. I love it. So let's dive into that kind of AI SEO piece. So SEO has been around since I've been an entrepreneur, which is at least 15 years. I dabbled in it. I did some video SEO back in my early days and then just got completely wiped out by Google updates and that kind of stuff. SEO has always kind of seemed like a dark art to me. Like people are there's that school of thought, which is probably 98% of the world, which is great for your business, that say SEO, don't know anything about it. And then there's the 2% of people who are flying under the radar and just absolutely dominating in organic search. So the link, and I'll come back to our early conversation about Latin and languages, then developing skill sets into SEO. How did you realize that this was something important and then go all in and after it?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because SEO is not something you can necessarily major in. It's something that you have to learn by doing in a lot of ways. And so I started off as a writer. I've been writing in some way or another professionally for 25 years. And so just, writing different types of copy from eBay sales pages to, a thesis in college to working on my dissertation when I was in PhD studies. There are lots of different ways that I've been writing. And being able to translate that into web copy and then seeing people coming to my website for something that I wrote, that was what was the game changer for me. It was seeing people coming to my website without me actually doing anything besides writing. So then I realized there's a way to unlock that and tap into that in a data-driven, systematic way so that it can drive traffic to almost anyone's website if they're willing to put in the time and energy around it.
Okay. So almost any topic, data driven. So does that actually mean that literally any product, any position, any company on the planet has an untapped reservoir of organic search that they can literally take the roof off, take the lid off, and dive into with the right structure?
Absolutely. It works better for people who have a proven offer and know
As
that they're
everything
going to,
does. I mean,
yes, right.
yeah.
Proven on like and know that they're going to stay with that offer for at least a year. If someone is pivoting constantly, or they haven't pinned their offer down, or they switch niches or topics, SEO is probably not for them. But if a business has a proven offer and they know they're going to be around for a while, there's no reason not to do SEO, because it's something that a lot of people disregard. They think it's too hard. They think it's not for them. But if you go on Google and you type in what you do and there's a company that shows up and you're not, you're missing the opportunity to tap into an unlimited source of traffic that you're probably ignoring right now.
Wow, amazing. How much of a role does social media play in the SEO world?
So social media is an important tool, because what I do when I look at SEO is I don't just do, hey, we're going to get you lots of traffic. It's about getting the right traffic that converts. So you want to make sure you have a really good goal and you have content that drives them towards conversion. SEO is social media is a conversion tool that you can add to your arsenal. It's also a really important element to communicate to Google and to other searchers that you have an authority, you have a presence, you're an established brand. You're not just a fly by night, but you actually are out there and you're talking about your offer, your services, your business in more than one platform. So there's a correlation between social media and SEO. I'm not going to say causation. I'm not going to say you publish on social media and you're going to rank. But a lot of times social media will contribute to rankings on Google.
Cool, amazing. So I'm not going to ask for the secret sauce, because anybody that wants to study this should no doubt just get in touch with you and take care of it, rather than try and work that wizardry out for themselves. But as we look at new social media coming through, so we start by looking at what happened in old age. Facebook was the first, or MySpace, if you want to go back that far. And these days, there are different types of social media. There are short form content. There's long form. There's different kind of environments that people can be in. If we're talking about creating content that Google, let's say predominantly as a search engine, is ranking people for, do people need to be across all of that content? Do they need to be omnipresent for SEO to work these days?
No, and you don't necessarily need social media for SEO to work. It's just when you're creating content for your website and you want to rank on Google or another search engine, part of the game is sending authority signals to that platform. Social media is one of the authority signals that you can send. Beautiful. So whether it's just one platform like Facebook, or you have 4 platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, X, or Twitter, whatever it is today, and TikTok, who knows? Yeah. YouTube is a good one, because YouTube and Google are, owned by the same company. It's about sending authority signals, but I would recommend that people not do omni-channel unless they're able to keep up with all of those different accounts, because a dead Instagram account that you post on, once a year isn't going to do much for you. But if you have a few narrower channels that you spend time on, I would definitely include those on a website or wherever else you want your audience to find you.
So let's have some fun with it. Now AI is kicked in, right?
Yes.
How excited were you when you opened that door to AI?
I'm going to be honest. I thought that AI was going to, I don't say kill SEO, but I really thought that AI was going to disrupt the industry in a way that would be hard to recover from. And I never thought that AI would get to the point, at least not as fast as it did, where it can almost replicate a human's touch. And it's taken me, it took me a few months to get over that and learn how to use it. And now that I've accepted it, AI is a fantastic tool. And there's going to be my prediction is there's going to be a very, very narrow window of people who can take AI, spin up some great content for their website, and really cash in on the rankings before others catch on. And that window is closing and closing as the AI tools are getting more sophisticated. But AI, that was a hard pill to swallow. But once I swallowed it, I'm all in with AI now.
See, I'm fascinated by that, because it's the same fear led me to mastery that you've demonstrated multiple times. Because I asked that question in a really specific way. How excited were you when you took the lid off the AI pool? And your answer doesn't surprise me. As an SEO professional, as a writer, as somebody who's specialized in content, my initial thought was that you would have been like, oh my God, this is going to kill us. And you had that. But of course, looking back at your history, that fear drives you to mastery. So now I've just seen a post on your thread where you're talking about creating an amazing tool. And you know, again, I won't spoil that. We'll put it in the show notes if you'd like us to. But the reality now is that you're seeing how this incredibly powerful tool is actually helping boost what you are doing in amazing ways. Yeah.
Absolutely. I am so thankful that I embraced the AI train
Mm.
because we're able to create content faster and really increase efficiencies and even come up with angles and ideas that we weren't able to come up with even a year ago. So AI has been a really, really helpful tool. And the way that we use it specifically is, giving it very clear and tested prompts and data to pull from so that the output is high quality. So a lot of people have played around with chat, played around with Claude, played around with all the different tools that are out there, and they're disappointed with the results. And I would challenge them to go a little bit further and provide better input if they want better output. So that's where I really have been playing with the input to get the tools where they need to be to accelerate our deliverables for clients and to make sure the content is better than it ever has been. And I could go on, but I think that hopefully answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you have a preferred study in there? Like, is there a person that you follow? Is there someone that helped your learning really kind of accelerate?
Yes. Jeff Hunter, he is the father of the AI persona method. He's a fantastic, fantastic AI expert who's really just taken it and turned AI into a tool and made it accessible for people. And another awesome resource for AI is Jordash Johnson. He's got a different take on it where he helps businesses and entrepreneurs become an AI chef. So he establishes different personas and builds entire brands using AI. So those two gentlemen have just done a fantastic job with taking AI by the reins and, riding that horse into the sunset.
Very cool. I love it. I love it. And do you see that? I mean, I can't keep up with the speed of AI. It's an incredible racing thoroughbred right now. Like you just can't imagine where it'll be in 6 months or 12 months time. But something that you said was interesting, where you feel like right now, as we're recording this, it's I always hate to date these episodes, but it's just before Christmas 2023. And you've mentioned that there's a short window now for people to really kind of get into this, understand how AI can work with SEO and content and create great ranking results before that window closes. I've got an idea of what you mean by that window closing, but tell me what you're thinking there, Julie. Like, why will that window close? How will that be I guess, impacting into our environment?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So the ability to create content at a large scale, and this has been, unlocked, unleashed, whatever AI word you want to choose there, in the past year. And so this is now given people who can't write, people who hate writing, people who have put off writing, it's given people no excuse not to create content. So I think that we're about to be, and I've already seen this happening with other brands and case studies, we're about to be inundated with content. And so for people who don't jump onto this boat before it sails away, they're going to miss an opportunity to get their own content out there. Because I don't see Google going anywhere. Google has been able to navigate the ups and downs of search for 20, 25, 30 years, however long it's been around. I don't see Google going anywhere. I see Google starting to adopt AI and integrate AI into the search results that we can get. So if you don't have content that Google is able to search and index and present to people, then you're missing the opportunity to get it out there before the market is super saturated. So that's what I mean, is that there's a narrow window to get your content out there before AI takes over everything. If you don't do that, then you're missing a huge opportunity to put your brand on the map and establish yourself as an authority in whatever your field is.
So I want to draw a bit of a word picture here, so people can kind of see what we're thinking. When you're standing at the beach and just before the wave kind of crests up and comes in, all of that water sucks out and you're left like with a whole big beach, and then the wave comes over and it's a big, big crash. What I feel like is happening personally is that this oversaturation of content, right, is this massive wave cresting up. And you imagine as that hits, the next thing that's going to happen is like this just sucking out of everybody else that's left over before the next wave comes on through. My point there being, and again, I hope people listening are kind of picturing that in their head. My point there is exactly to your comment there. If you're not creating content right now, there's an amazing rush of people creating mass content, like where before they might used to think content's important. Yeah, sure, I'll get to that article in a month, and they might produce 2 or 3 pieces of content in a year. Now people have the tools to create 200 or 300 pieces in a day. So there's this massive crash of huge amount of content. And you're right, tools like Google, predominantly Google, and Bing, of course, with OpenAI being part of its infrastructure, are getting smarter about the way that they index that content and display that content. And of course, that'll come through. So you imagine that this big cresting tsunami is going to have now I guess a management system put around it. But here's the point. There's 2 things that I want to kind of bring up with that and then throw that back to you. First thing is, unless you've got content in that pool, you're sucked out. There is no coming back into that. And the second thing with that is, as always, and I'm going to throw this back to you, if your content's not great and it's just been spam created, you're going to get washed out. I would love to just throw that back to you and say, how important do you think the original top level great content is going to be in that incoming tsunami and washout?
I think that's a really good question, because I've seen, I monitor this topic pretty closely because it's related to everything that I do.
Yeah.
And I've seen many people online complaining about their traffic dying, or, they're losing their rankings because of an algorithm update or AI taking over, and, just sort of an array of issues going on. My clients haven't seen that problem. And that's because we do high quality content. If there's a secret sauce behind SEO, that's it. You want the content that you create to be high quality. And what I mean by high quality is you want it to be valuable and meaningful to the audience that you're targeting. So you need to understand, you need to put yourself in their mindset, and you need to understand what they're searching for, what they find valuable, where they spend their time. And you need to give them content that does a better job of answering the search query than what's currently out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the magic to SEO. Make sure that you're giving people quality. So yes, AI can accelerate this, but I always recommend that people go back and put their own touch on something that AI creates. Because at the end of the day, it's still a human who's going to be reading your content, and it's still a human who's going to be working with you. So you need to make sure that you're using content to attract humans and to provide them with value.
Amazing. And I think that's you've just unlocked the magic there. I think, and again, guys, keep up with Julie. See what she's publishing and see what she's posting, because you have an opportunity to learn from somebody like Julie who's in the trenches doing that, and that's an amazing thing to take the lid off it, create that quality content that people want to read. In the end, AI can understand millions of lines of text in a second. It doesn't mean that that's a buyer coming to your website. You have to make sure that your content's written for your ideal audience, which is absolutely cool. So Julie, thank you so much. I mean, I really love your thought pattern. I think probably the biggest takeaway for me is that fear into mastery, being able, something that's scaring the crap out of you and being able to go, right, let's get on top of this because it's going to be something that steers me through. I think that's cool. What's coming next for you? Like what's in the pipeline? Where do you see yourself growing and going? What's coming up?
Oh my gosh. So I'm really excited. I have too many things going on, but I'm really excited. So the one thing that I'm doing is I am building out an offer for business owners around an AI SEO team. And what this is I've taken my own proprietary methodology around SEO and around amazing content, And I'm training the different AI tools that are out there with my tone, my goals, SEO best practices, all of that. And then tweaking it so that the output that I get from those tools is almost perfect. So I'm really excited to do that for my own brand and on behalf of my clients. We're spooling up some amazing AI SEO teams. And I'm also putting together a lower ticket offer around how to tap into AI to get traffic to your website, to your social media profile, wherever it is you want traffic, basically automatically. I'm really excited about those two offers. They're coming down.
That sounds amazing.
Right as we hit the new year. So yes.
Sign us up, like let us know as soon as that hits, because I'm sure our people would like to know about that as well. That sounds like something that every business owner should have in their hands. If you had your time again, Julie, if we went back exactly 12 months to November 2022, where ChatGPT opened its doors, if you had your time again, if you had this one last year again, what would you do differently?
I would be publishing so much content. I would be a publishing machine. I mean, I'm an SEO person and I haven't done enough SEO. So I would reverse and I would focus on SEO for my own brands and nothing but SEO for my own brands. So maybe in a year when we have this conversation again, maybe that's what you'll see. You'll see.
Yeah, beautiful. I want to see that wave with your logo right on the crest as that's coming over. Tell me about the next 12 months. You got these amazing offers coming up. What are the goals for the company? What are the goals for you personally? What are you looking forward to 12 months out? Like let's wind forward to Christmas 2024. What are you thinking?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to put positive energy out there because my husband and I would love to have another child. So getting a little personal there, but that's I'm putting out positive energy out there. Honestly, I really want to get my business to the point where I don't need to be in the weeds every day. That's definitely something that I want to do. And then my goal is to get onto more stages this year. So I've been very fortunate to be on a couple of stages this past year. And that's my goal moving forward, is to get out there, teach more business owners, teach anyone who would listen about how to use SEO, how to use AI, and really how to grow their business with intention so they can serve more people.
Amazing, amazing. So guys, as you're listening to this, get Julie on some stages, get her in front of your audiences. Let's get Julie Mills out there in the place that she belongs. Julie, thank you so much for the opportunity to come and say hi. I love your methodology. I think what you do in the world is incredible. You've demonstrated over and over and over again that your dedication to results brings results. I love that message for entrepreneurs and business owners the world over. And again, just on behalf of the audience, myself, thank you so much for the chance to come and say hi. And what you're putting out into the world, let's get more of it. We need it. And great to see you. Thank you so much for jumping on.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, I really appreciate it. It's been fantastic to chat with you.
Awesome. Cheers, guys. We'll see you on the next call.